Hey you guys, what's going on? Just before we get into today's video, I want to let you all know that this video is based in opinion, so please don't take these opinions personally. This video also has a lot of heavy spoilers in them, so watch at your own risk. I have a spoiler-free version of this review that already came out, so if you have not played the game yet, be sure to check that out, and I will see you all in the video. There's always going to be a tipping point that brings a character into their final form, a final straw that turns them into a villain, a savior, or a lesson. Crisis Core takes a prequel to a whole new level and brings the story of Final Fantasy VII into a new light, giving Sephiroth, Zack, Cloud, and Aerith dynamism and strength, building their characters even further. Crisis Core built upon the Final Fantasy series in a way that breathes life into an ever-changing, ever-vast world of personal stories that create relatable heroes. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome to my review of Final Fantasy VII Reunion Crisis Core. Did I even say that right? That title is very long, okay? I'm just gonna call it Crisis Core. This was one of, I think, the best Final Fantasy games so far that I've played, and I probably should have played this game first, but the remake came after the Final Fantasy VII remake, so I didn't get a chance to. So I played Final Fantasy VII remake, and then I played Crisis Core. But the very first Final Fantasy game I ever played was Final Fantasy 15. I bawled my eyes out. Final Fantasy is known for making you question all of your emotions, your morals, just absolutely everything about yourself. There's nothing I like more than a good existential crisis in the morning. It just really puts the cherry on top of the cake, you know? Finding out you're not human gives way to one of the best villain arcs in video game history. Sephiroth's humanity was halted by the crushing reality that he is an experiment, injected with cells from the Genova life form when he was only an infant. Consumed with rage, he turned into the antagonist we know and love in Final Fantasy VII. The story of Crisis Core revolved around this whole notion that everything each character once knew was a lie. From Zack being an upbeat soldier who just wanted to help people, to finding out his mentor Angeal was hiding things and not the person he thought he knew, to Cloud learning about the type of soldier he wanted to be and how he wanted the legacy of others to live on through him. I'm telling you, the fact that I got to see Cloud in that game, I got a little happier than I probably should have. I thought Cloud was so grumpy in Final Fantasy VII. Okay, well, let's be real here. Each guy in Final Fantasy VII besides Zack is a little grumpy grumpus. It's frustrating, but also it's endearing because it's like, oh, our cute little emo boy. The story of Crisis Core beautifully prequels Final Fantasy VII in a way that I haven't seen any other game do so smoothly. The story of Final Fantasy VII is rich and dynamic, so having a prequel that explains everything in such an organic way, showcasing the good, the bad, and the ugly, really blew me away and created this lasting impression of how I now feel about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now that I played Crisis Core, it cleared up a lot of the story. At points I would say to myself, okay, that's what happened. Now, since I never played the PSP version, I wasn't aware until recently how drastic of a change this game actually was. If I thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was an entire overhaul, oh my gosh, I haven't played the original, even though I have it in my Steam. I should go and play that. This one truly blew me out of the water because I saw comparisons to the PSP version from 2007 to the one now, and oh my gosh. The voice acting, the graphics, the characters, the movements in comparison to the original. I don't know what's going on with Zachary though, the way that I called him Zachary. Zachary, clean your room! Zachary, don't go out with your friends until you've done the dishes. I sound like my mother. This, in comparison to the original, is strikingly different yet similar. The same bones were used from the original to really kind of accentuate more how the change is, if that makes sense. Like, you can still see a lot of the same movements, and this is where, in my spoiler-free review, I compared it a little bit to Forspoken because you have the fade to blacks, you have a lot of stiff character movements that are from the original that are still in this game. There's a motion that Zack does where he does these lunges, and I'm just like, what exactly are you doing? Your knees are going to be so sore. Like I said before, the same bones are being used structurally for the game, yet so many quality of life improvements were made, making this remake smoother and a better option for those who have not dipped their toes into the Final Fantasy world and want to experience their first one. I feel like this was a great way to go, and anyone who wants to experience their first Final Fantasy game should start with this one because it beautifully explains the prequel and the story and the why of what, you know, why is Sephiroth the way he is? Why is Cloud a, you know, a bumbly mess? Now, as far as controls go, the character movements, all that kind of stuff, it's stiff. There are moments of where I'm like, ooh, this is smooth, this is nice, like, I get to use my ultimate. And then there are just moments of where I'm like, oh dear God, help me please. This game came out when I was a sophomore in high school back in 2007, so you can tell its age. You really can. I mean, I didn't, you wouldn't think that 2007 is old, but it is. It's up there. Now, also the DMW system is something I want to touch on briefly because this was something I had never experienced before, of where you can get ultimate MP for a moment. You can get ultimate attack power, I think it is as well. The thing is that you have to line up all three of the same character in order to get that special ultimate. So if you line up, you know, Sephiroth, all three of a Sephiroth, it's kind of like going to Atlantic City, but, you know, Final Fantasy. Now, while the controls were lacking and some of the movements were incredibly stiff and some of the, just the way that the cutscenes would go would be so aggravatingly slow sometimes, I wanted to jostle the characters to be like, move! While all of that being said, it's the story that really carries this game forward. It's the story that makes the experience of this game worth experiencing. Hell, if they had a Final Fantasy movie, I would jump at that because I would love to see all of these cutscenes just all back to back to back. It would make it an amazing movie. With an emotional end to a truly wonderful game, Crisis Core is the way a story should be prequeled. The richness of characters, the beauty of their development made me feel connected to them and the story as a whole. As the final cutscene of Crisis Core played out, I felt what every Final Fantasy game's goal is: to create an emotional bond and connectivity with the player. My final score for this game is an 8.5 out of 10. It was an excellent, excellent game. But you guys, that was my review on Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core, Crisis Reunion, final reunion of Crisis Fantasy. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every day here on YouTube. But you find your worth in the waking world, your hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.